Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a birthday card. This birthday card is going to be for my daughter Jacqueline. In this video I'm going to show you how to do die cut stacking, clear embossing over distressed oxide inks, and also how to do a little bit of two-color stamping. This is a very simple design and I hope that you will try your hand at these techniques that I'm going to go over with you today. To make this card, I'm going to be using the Endless Birthday Wishes from Stampin Up and the Hero Arts Color Layering Flamingo. This is a 3-step stamp. I also have a Flamingo stamp that I picked up from somewhere. I don't know whose company that was. And I also have this Hero Arts stamp, what's it called? Wave pattern. I'm going to be using some gold glitter tape, some clear embossing powder, and some rhinestones. Because I'm going to be doing color layering, I'm going to use my Misty tool, but you don't need it. You don't need one if you don't have one. I'm going to start off by making the background. I have put some gloves on because I don't want to inadvertently get ink all over everything, but you of course don't need it. So I'm going to start by making an ombre pattern, and I'm going to have the pinks on one side and then into the orange, and then on the other side I'll have the blue, then the blue-green, and I will use the antique linen to tie the two colors, the two areas together. This is very simple, putting one color down after the other, so I don't need to talk too much through his part. Okay, that's very simple as you saw. Now I need to dry this a little bit with my heat tool, but of course you can let it air dry, but I need to hurry up. So I'll be right back after I do that. Now that this is dry, I'm going to do the embossing. I have brought in my stamp mat because this is a very big stamp. I want to be sure that I get a good impression. So I have my embossing buddy. I'm going all over it to make sure that nothing is going to stick where I don't want it. I accidentally bent that up a little bit. Now I'm taking this very large stamp and my Versamark, and I'm going to ink it up all over. When you have a stamp that's larger than what you're working on, it may seem like it would make most sense just to ink up a little bit since you're not going to be using the whole area of the stamp. But I have found if you don't do this, then the part that you didn't ink up will be just the part that doesn't stamp right when you need it to. So it's better to be over generous in inking up, so that way you won't have to mess up what you're working on. Okay, so I want the blue at the bottom and the waves going to the top. And I have my embossing powder ready to go because I'm going to immediately drop this in here so that it can start getting working. And I'll just press straight down. Since this is a very large stamp, I have to be sure that I go all over and get good coverage. Excuse me if the camera shakes. And I actually stood up so I could do this. Okay, I think that's good. And come on off of there. There we go. You should be able to see a little bit of the pattern. Little wave pattern, but it'll be more pronounced once I put it into the embossing powder. So since I don't want to mess up the the pattern, I'm going to be really careful and just drop this in and let the powder just flow onto it. Okay, now you can really see it. I'm going to shake off the extra. Good. Now I'm going to take this off camera and hit it with my heat tool and heat it up. And this is the embossed panel. I really like how it turned out. It's really shimmery from the clear embossing, and I like the colors. I'm pretty sure you can see the pattern in it. Okay, now I'm going to move on to doing the flamingo. I have my MISTI tool, and I've already put the stamps onto the door where I need them to be, and I've done a dry run to make sure that everything's going to line up. I'm not going to show you how to do that on this video, but I'm going to leave a link down below to a video where I go into more detail on how to line up the triple layer and the 2-layer stamps. There are a lot of videos on my channel, and there are many videos available which go into more detail for it. It really is not something that you should be scared to try yourself. I have the colors that I'm going to use, the 3 pinks, already lined up, so I don't have to stop and think about it, and I'm just going to step right through, starting with the most solid image, which is this one. And I have the larger of the pieces of paper, the one that's 5.5 by 4.25. You should have 2 of those. Make sure that you use the same alignment every time you do it, so make sure it's flush in the corner. Okay, and because I'm all over the mat with this, I'm not going to use my magnet. I didn't get a solid impression in the center here, and ordinarily I would stamp that again, but because I'm going to be layering colors on top of it, that's not going to matter so much. But I wanted to make note of it in case you saw that. Okay, now I'm turning it because the second one is here. Of course, I could take the stamps off and just do it a little bit more logically, but I'm trying to maximize the real estate here on the MISTI, so I can do all pieces at once. Okay, and now you should be able to see the flamingo starting to come alive. And now I'm going to go up and get the 3rd piece. All right, and this will be the picked raspberry. I haven't spent too much time looking at flamingo, so I wasn't really sure about what colors to use, but I liked how these turned out. And I was already using these colors in the card, so I thought it would be a nice tie-in. And there we go. You may notice that there's no legs on this flamingo yet. On this particular stamp set, the legs are separate, but the die is one piece, which I'll show you in a moment. So I didn't want to try and line up the legs while I was doing this, because if I got it off, then when I went to cut it, it just wouldn't line up, and it would be a big mess. So now I've turned it one more time, and I have his little face here. It's so small, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to put that on with black. And there is half of our flamingo. Okay. All right, now I'm going to move this MISTI out of the way and bring in my big shot for the next steps. Now to cut out this flamingo, I have the die, and as you see, the legs are part of the die. So I'm just going to line it up with the body, which is all that I have so far, and it's not difficult to line it up. I'm just going to run this through. I should probably have taped that down and just hope it doesn't move. Okay, good job. Now let me move this aside just for a second. Not all the way, because I still need it. And I'll have his legs. and bring in my stamping mat again. I hope you can see I'm sort of working off here. And using the London Fog, I'm going to just punch his little legs on there. Well, not punch, but stamp. So I'm just going to look right through and line it up best as I can. Excuse me if my head comes in. Okay, good job. All right. Now, bring this back, and I'm going to use this and the other paper, the other large paper, and I'm going to get as many flamingos as I can. I should be able to get an additional 5 flamingos. So I'm going to run this through and then move on to the next step. And now that I have my flock of seagulls, get this last one out. Come on. I'm going to take my glue and stack them all together. I'm using glue and not tape because the glue is slow to set up, so that gives you a few extra seconds to move it around till you get it lined up the way you want it to be. The stacking die cuts will give this dimension without adding too much weight, and it'll be a lot easier than try to use foam tape to get this together. And fun tape, foam tape would just be a nightmare. I would not recommend you try it unless you really are on top of your taping game, and I am not. So stacked die cuts works just fine. You just put them one on top of the other and move it until you get it, and then move to the next one. So I'm going to go through and do all of these real quick. When you get to the last one, you want to spend a little bit of extra time to make sure that you have really good coverage with the glue, because you do not want the topmost one, which has the design, to come separated from the bottom. So I'm not using a lot more glue. I'm just making sure that I spread it out very, very well. And this is the one that you really want to line up right, because if it looks messy here, you're either going to have to live with a messy die or just do it again. And it's been a lot of trouble to this point. And then once you get it, give it a firm push all over to make sure that you got a good seal. If you wanted, you could take a block and set on top of it to weight it down. Now the rest, I'm going to assemble the card for you. I also have a Salty Ocean marker, and if you didn't have that one, any blue marker would do, because I wanted to give a little bit of color to that banner. So I'm just going to put everything together. And that's the card all finished. I hope you will try the 3-step stamp design yourself. I really hope my daughter likes this card. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I'm going to link to Jennifer McGuire's website, where she shows how to use this particular stamp set and make a see-through card, a window card. It's gorgeous, and I really haven't had time to try it, but it's on my to-do list. But I'm going to link down below so that you can see how that card is made. It's really fabulous. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to put out new content pretty frequently, and I hope you are finding things that are useful and enjoyable. I'd like to thank my brother, David, for the music that he's providing, and I hope that you're enjoying that also. Take care, everyone, and have a great day, and keep stamping.